Before coming to HEC, I had this question in my mind. How can someone from Asia, like me from Japan, realize life in a European startup world without fitting in too much in a European context? So, yeah, I didn't just wanted an MBA. I wanted an environment that can challenge and change my perspective to think and lead in a global environment. Hello, my name is Jun. I'm from Japan, Tokyo, and I'm an MBA student. So I've been working at tech company for 8 years, from Series A to its IPO as a general manager. And I came to HEC MBA in September 2023 with my wife and lovely cat Taffy. I had a lot of experiences, like for 8 years, to launch my business and manage the teams, and we had an IPO. But actually, the learning curve was getting too flattened. So I wanted to challenge myself. And at the same time, the startup ecosystem in Japan is a little bit small and a little bit closed. So I wanted to put myself in more diverse environment and to see the broader world. I hesitated a lot before coming to HEC MBA, because it's a big decision for me. I grew up in Japan for 30 years. I began to ask myself that, is it okay for me to end up my career only in Japan without seeing the big broader world? So that I choose to come to HEC. And as for identity, I didn't hesitate because I had that, the 95% of the students coming from abroad. I wanted to prove my global leadership and my experiences in a scaling startup. So I, I thought there's a gap between the tech startup ecosystem between Europe and Asia, and I wanted to prove that. And I made my MBA thesis, which is called a capstone project. So my topic is about how can learn Japanese ecosystem, learn from French startup ecosystem. So actually, through that project, and I participated a lot to those startup conferences, I came to my mind that I made the right choice. The moment I felt I need something different is that when I communicated with my European colleague in my previous company. So in my previous company, which is the creative industry, it's kind of mixed with creative agency and digital product company. So we had an offsite meeting once or twice in a year, and we discussed about global strategy or global culture with the European colleagues in Japan. And actually, I learned a lot from them. They're very, different lens, and I wanted to learn from people who have a different lens to the world. The transformational moment for me was the time when I managed the Entrepreneurship Club. So I was elected as HEC MBA Entrepreneurship Club track in a September intake. So I led the 12 members from like South Africa or Cameroon, India, China, Chile, Peru, and France, Spain, and other European countries. To be honest, before becoming the president, I had a huge pressure, and I was very nervous, and I'm not sure if I could lead in a global environment. But at that time, I organized a lot of things, like the events in a Session F, which is speed dating with a startup in Session F and MBA classmates. And actually, some of them landed an internship in that program. So after organizing those kind of events, I'm getting to have some confidence. Or actually, I could do that in the global environment. The European schools challenged my expectations that before coming to HEC, I thought it's more mature atmosphere because the average age is around 30, and everyone is already experienced a lot. But actually, everyone is more like has a hungriness. They are very hungry to their career, and they're always seeking to new opportunities. And also, they are very willing to share their experiences. I share the experiences about the startup. Others share the experiences in their life journey. So that kind of the crossover about the life or experiences was very beyond my expectations, and at the same time very challenging for me. Okay, while I was in the MBA, I launched Asian Entrepreneurs in Europe, we say AEE, project, which is cross-border consulting project. We are helping Asian companies to expand to European market, especially in France. I launched it with my MBA classmate. Her name is Lola. We started the consulting project for the Japanese AI startup. And at the same time, we built a community that can share the information about the French startup ecosystem. For example, our first episode of our podcast is the Helalboni, which is an impact startup from Japan. So finally, they have an office in France. So they shared us how to start the company in France and what is the tips for the Asian companies. Actually, before coming to France, I didn't know that. But thanks to this HEC community, I'm getting into that French startup ecosystem so that we could find the gap of the information asymmetric. By solving those information gap or community gap or networking gap, we could help the Asian companies for expanding to Europe. I learned a lot through the experiences of AEE because it's just two members, myself and Lola. So we needed to take ownership. I needed to take a lot of ownership. So I felt that the leadership is needed by action or trust or like challenge. So those kind of aspects is made by mutual respect with my co-founders. So I learned that the leadership is not necessary to fit in to the local context, but also utilize that gaps or difference or uniqueness to the local context. Then that can become a value. So the leadership is not only about lead a team, but also create the environment with the inclusiveness and diversity. Today, I'd say it was my right choice come to HEC. And of course, I failed a lot while I was a student, but I challenged a lot. Why I could challenge? Because this community allows me to give a space to challenge myself and, in a sense, to fail and learn and grow.